Yo, what's up, guys? Now they just put out a video here where it says towers are gone, and I'm not entirely sure what that entails, so we're gonna check it out right now.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games. Now, it's no secret that we need to make some improvements to the endgame, and the plan has been to do some pretty major changes in 040, but we realized it might be nice to iterate on some of the more mechanical changes in 031, and just save the new content for 040. That way we can get a chance to test some of these things a bit earlier. A major concern for players are the mechanics around towers. Players don't like having to find towers to juice their maps, and don't enjoy needing to find multiple overlapping towers to get the best outcomes. In order to fix that, you no longer need towers to use tablets. Instead, tablets can now be placed in the map device to add their bonuses directly to your maps. Each time you use a tablet while running a map, the number of remaining uses goes down. Once it reaches 0, the tablet is destroyed. You can use up to 3 tablets on each map, but the number of enabled slots is based on how many mods the map has. Running a 6-mod map will enable all 3 of the tablet slots on the map device. This change allows you to benefit fully from tablets, no matter what random layout of towers you happen to find.
I don't
Towers
know
can
if I
still be
like
used to
that.
gain visibility on the atlas, and they'll also drop an extra tablet as a reward for completing them. Something we've never really been happy with was the base experience of how you complete a map.
Pause,
In
pause,
PoE
pause. So, shout out to Knight for this suggestion, which is something I personally feel like would be the absolute #1 change to towers that would make them so much more interesting and so much more worth going for. Remove all the juicing part from towers and make the tablets into map tablets that will change any map in, or let's say like 10 maps within the area of that one tower to a specific map. So you could have like, let's say 10 desert maps. So instead of like having a bunch of different maps around you, you can then use a tablet to then basically change all the maps within the, like a certain number of them at least within that ring, and then still have some of the, you could say, like unique tablets and stuff like that that has like specific or special mods that would change some things. I would much rather want to see that, and then introducing something more like scarabs from PoE1 in order to juice your maps. I personally think it's a better system in general, and I do think that one of the problems right now is not just having to like find tower setups where it's 3 or 4 tower that overlap. It's also the fact that once you do find a set of 3 or 4 tower overlap, how many of those maps are going to be super shitty maps that honestly is not technically worth playing, right? Like let's say Maya, for instance. Doing a breach on a Maya map is just absolutely not worth it because the amount of monsters that's going to spawn is so much less than if it was a big ass open field, right? Um, so I think that they should change towers. I still think they should be used to unveil the map, and then I think they should change the tablets to be map tablets instead of something that you use to juice with. I just don't think the tablet juicing is working quite as intended. It does not feel as good as using scarabs in PoE1 does. Now, there's not enough end-game mechanics yet to where you could really implement scarabs in the same way as they have in PoE1. The reason it works so well in PoE1, in my opinion, is due to the amount of different league mechanics and buffs you can pull out of them. And you usually really specialize in 1 or 2 or 3 things in terms of mechanics, right? Like let's say Abyss and the Asmeri Spirits or something like that. That's your specialty, you could say, with your build. This is what you're going to grind. So you buy all the scarabs and that fits those mechanics, right? And then you add them to your maps. I would much rather want to use that mechanic in here. It doesn't have to be scarabs. It can be something completely different or completely new. But I like the idea of adding an item in with your map and then using that in order to basically gain more stuff out of the map. I don't know if this is gonna work this way that I'm thinking, but just off the top of my head, seeing what they just showed, it does a little bit look like you put the tablets into the map, and then once you've done the map, do you have to take the tablets back out? Or will they just stay in there, so you just go open the next map and the next map and the next map and they'll always be there? Or do you have to swap them every time? And given that at the moment we have to use 3 or 4 towers to overlap each other to really gain like massive amount of drops out of it, how do you stack those tablets on top? Like, are you gonna raise the numbers on the tablets? Are you gonna buff the tablets so they have way higher numbers? Or is this like a general nerf to the drops of the game, basically in everything, right? Because if you're nerfing, or if you're removing the ability to overlap and then push the quantity and the rarities and those type of things to a very, very high point, and you're now basically, you could say beforehand, if you have a 4-tower setup, that's 4 times 3 tablets that overlap with each other and then basically boosts each other. And are you gonna make the tablets that strong that that'll have the same effect, or like how is this gonna work exactly? Because I do feel like we need to change towers in a way, but I am 100% behind that we're getting map tablets instead of having like juicing tablets, over having to put the tablets into each map. Now it's just even more, unless they're giving us a tablet actual, like a tablet stash tab, this is going to be unmanageable with the amount of tablets you have to save all of a sudden. I'm already using like literally 3-4 pages of stash pages to just have freaking tablets in, because you kind of like mix it up. Okay, I want some with experience. Okay, I want some with quantity. Okay, I want some with rarity. And then depending on how the map setups are and whatever, I'll add whatever thing to those maps that I prefer with the setup of maps I have around those tower setups, right? So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
We wanted boss fights to feel challenging and rewarding, so we decided to make bosses spawn only in some maps. In all the other maps, the completion condition for the map was killing all the rare monsters. However, we don't really feel this is that enjoyable. It tends to degenerate into just following minimap icons. In order to address this, we're now making all maps contain map bosses. To complete the map, just kill the map boss. You no longer need to kill any rares, and you can do as much or as little of the rest of the map as you please.
That's smart, though.
We still want some map bosses to be more challenging and rewarding, though. The existing icons that currently indicate that there's a map boss now instead mean that the map boss of the area will be extra challenging, with more rewards and the map tier upgrade.
Much better. Much better.
We also wanted to improve the base experience of mapping in other ways by making sure that there is at least a guaranteed minimum amount of bonus content in each map. As you generate each map, we will now always add between 1 to 3 extra random features, including Breach, Delirium, Ritual, and Expedition, as well as Shrines, Strongboxes, Essences, Wisps, Rogue Exiles, and Summoning Circles. This content will be added in addition to the content added by your tablets and maps, and will be selected afterwards. This means that if you have a mob that adds an Expedition which can't have more than one in a map, then we'll make sure to select something else instead. With both this change and the tower change, content icons for Breach, Delirium, Ritual, and Expedition have been removed from the Atlas. All the content you didn't add yourself will be randomly generated as you go to the area. Currently, we believe the time to complete a given map is a bit too long, and so we're lowering it. To start with, we're taking the 15 largest maps and reducing their sizes. We also felt like there were just too many monsters. The size of monster packs in T1 maps was actually over 40% higher than in the interlude area right before it. This also resulted in a sudden difficulty spike at the start of endgame, if your build wasn't able to handle large packs well. Getting swarmed by monsters is a common complaint in the endgame. To address that, we're lowering the number of monsters and monster packs at the start of the endgame by 30%. As you go through the tiers, the number of monsters will increase so that by tier 15, it's the same as it was before. This will also increase the difference between map tiers. We're also making a change that P1 already had, where maps with very open layouts have slightly lowered pack density compared to the more closed indoor maps. This was done in order to prevent you getting swarmed too much in open maps, and so we're doing this for PoE 2 as well. This should significantly reduce the time taken to clear maps and reduce the difficulty that many players are experiencing as they enter the endgame. Now, there are still a lot of other new features and content that we want to add to the endgame, but we believe that these changes are a good step towards improving the base experience of mapping.
Fair enough. You know what? That's honestly fair enough. I that last part is fair enough. I don't mind that. That seems like a good choice, honestly. That seems very, very doable. But again, not to sound like a broken record, I still think that the changes to towers is probably not the right change, which, given some time, we'll figure that out in the community if that's a good or like an unnecessary change. I still stand by Knight's statement that having tower or using precursor tablets that provides you with a set of maps instead of buffs is the way forward, and then adding something in the mentality of scarabs instead. I 100% think that's the way forward. It to me sounds like the best choices. And yeah, that's gonna be it for me, man. I hope you all have a good day, good evening, whatever it might be for you. Like, comment, subscribe, all the good jazz, and I'll see you all in the next one.